to share your thoughts with as your brain's in a blur. Walk this way or down an alley, make a master list, keep running, tallying up where you've been, where you found the heat. But don't go down to Regent Street. Don't go down to Regent Street. Step around the trash and the bugs and the killed bird. Can't step around feeling bewildered. It's what's going around. I get in my mind your blueprint dress. Billows out the window just above your feet. But don't go down to Regent Street. Don't go down to Regent Street.
Hey everybody, my name is Murray Foster. I run the Toronto Songwriting School. Welcome, thanks for attending. I'm sitting here on this sunny Sunday night in Toronto with a cocktail, which is delicious. I've decided that this summer is the summer of the cocktail, and it's a good summer so far. Yes, welcome. This masterclass is run by the Toronto Songwriting School. Tonight we have Dan Bern, which is very exciting. A bit about the Toronto Songwriting School. We're about 7 years old. We run classes. Now we have online classes, which have been going really well. We do getaways. We have calendars. We have Facebook groups. So check us out, torontosongwritingschool.com. Join the mailing list for all that information. Yes, and we've been doing these master classes every second Sunday for a few weeks now, and for me, it's been amazing. It's been eye-opening. I've been learning. I think it's been a lot of fun. Tonight we have Dan Bern. I'll give you a bit of Dan Bern's sort of from the internet bio, which is that Dan Bern has released 25 albums. He has done thousands of live shows across North America. He wrote songs for Walk Hard. He wrote songs for Get Him to the Greek. He's a visual artist, he's an author, he's an incredibly interesting guy. My own personal bio of Dan Bern is that 25 years ago, I was in a band called Moxie Frubus, and we were doing the North American folk festival circuit, as was Dan Bern. And we were both pretty new to it. And Dan Bern on the festival circuit was as close as we had to a rock star. All of the artists that were sitting backstage at picnic tables eating couscous would run to side stage and watch Dan's show. And so Dan Bern looms pretty large in my consciousness, and I hope by the end of the next hour and a half he does the same for you. Yeah, so I'm thrilled to have him tonight, and I'm really looking forward to this. Tonight is Pay What You Can, so please pay what you can. The information is there. So pay what you can, or slightly more than that. That's also encouraged. Yes, and join the Toronto Songwriting School mailing list for more, for all the information that you want. So without further ado, let's bring on the man of the moment, Dan Bern. Snap of the magic fingers. Look at that, and it just happens. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. Where are you?
I'm near Santa Cruz, California, up north.
Nice. Nice. How long have you been there?
Couple years.
Yeah, you like it?
I do. I like it pretty well.
Yeah. Good pace and all that stuff.
Yeah, very good pace. I can get down to the ocean in 5 minutes if I'm on my bike.
Nice. Cool. Well, I guess I'll leave you to it unless there's anything else to say. I'll vanish for 45 minutes and then you snap your fingers and I'll reappear, if that works for you.
Wow, it's like the grown-up is leaving the room and then
yeah. Don't smash all the toys. That's all I ask. Okay, man. We'll
Thanks,
talk to you.
Murray.
Okay.
Oh, Lord, Mama, got him in the bottom of my rambling shoes. And when the whistle blows, I gotta go. Oh, Lord, don't you know? And it looks like I'm never gonna lose the freight train blues. I got the freight train blues. Lordy mama, yeah, okay. Well, that'll warm me up anyways. Get a good long note in there. Well, hi, folks. I want to thank Murray once again at the Toronto Songwriting School for having us in here today. Well, there's an old Chinese proverb, or it might be a curse, might be a blessing and a curse. It also might be apocryphal. Maybe it never even occurred in Chinese, but it's been adopted here, and it's the old curse of may you live in interesting times. I think we can safely say these are interesting times. These are certainly challenging times. In one way, with so much going on out in the world and in our lives, these are great times for songwriting. In another way, it's hard times for songwriting. It's hard sometimes not to feel powerless. There was a Günter Grass poem we read in high school called Powerless with a Guitar. That still haunts me sometimes. Still, I know there's power in songs, in writing songs, in the community, and connection that comes with writing and singing songs, in involving other people in singing songs, or just in the process of gathering together to come and sing songs in a hall or even on a stream like this. I'd always listened growing up to the Beatles, and maybe because they were a band and I was just one person, I wasn't moved to get a guitar, a song instrument, and start making up and singing my own songs until I heard folks like Phil Oakes, Bob Dylan, Tom Paxton, Woody Guthrie, Odetta, folks like that who sang songs of protest and outrage and cries for social justice. Those songs felt important and made me feel like songs could actually change things. Nowadays, trying to deal with my own feelings of rage and despair, I'm amazed how writing songs and singing songs and continuing to make connections with an audience, more than anything else, that's what's getting me through these times. So I like to talk about writing songs, even if it inspires just one person to write one song. I feel that making up songs, drawing, cave painting really, dancing, these things are our birthrights as humans. These things are what makes us human. These are things that are often squeezed or beaten or embarrassed out of us when we're kids, which is a crime. So I like to do workshops when I can to do my part to encourage all of that. Get in touch with the things that make us human. Give people permission to write songs, to hear melodies, to put expressions to ideas, and combine all of it. That's what song is. So, given that, we're open to allowing song in, and that we may want to remember what the songs are. The first thing that's crucial to beginning to write songs is to have a way of getting them down as quick as they come in. And in the old days, well, in the real old days, like in the Mozart days, you had to know how to write music out on a staff. That's the only way you were going to remember a melody later. Of course, maybe they didn't have as many things competing with them either. They didn't have the next song on the radio coming in after they, thought of that one. But when I was getting going, we didn't have the cell phones. So at that point, you'd be driving and you'd have to pull over, find a payphone, call your answering machine and sing your little melody or whatever into that. Now it's easy. Everybody's got a little vocal recorder on their phone. So that's going to be your big tool in remembering
the songs later, because as quick as they come in, they're fleeting. They come in and you think, oh, I got that, and then you hear something else and it's gone. So you got to get them down. If it's lyrical stuff, you got to write it down. Maybe it's the back of a sandwich wrapper. Maybe it's a receipt. Maybe it's a napkin. You got to get them down, even if you're, oh, that's the person that scribbles. So you got to be that. I think it's real important to write a lot of songs, and finish them, even if that means toughing it out. Complete the throw. That's the difference between people who dabble in songwriting and songwriters. Is you finish your songs. If you have 2 verses, write that 3rd verse. If you have 8 verses, but it's still it's a long story or something, finish them out. Or you might say, well, I got 2 verses and I got a chorus. That's all I want. Okay, then call it put a bow on it. Okay, I'm going to come out of the chorus and I'm going to just sing the chorus again. I'm just going to have the double chorus, and that's it. Maybe a little solo. That's it. Nirvana did that. He wrote a couple verses. He was done. So that might be it or not. But whatever it is, complete the throw. You can change it later. It's not done until an audience hears it anyway, because you don't know what it is. You don't know what you've got until it could be the open mic audience. It could be, even the one friend who hears you out. But sometimes you don't know if a line's funny. You think, oh, that's a funny line. Then they don't laugh. Then you can have a serious line, and then they all laugh. And it's like, oh, wow, that's actually funny. I didn't know. And so it's like, well, I don't want it to be, or what? Because it's funny. Who knew? You might say, well, I don't need to write a lot of songs. I'm just going to write Let It Be. And, that's the only one I'm going to write, maybe, but I'll write Let It Be. Well, you might. It's possible, I guess. I mean, I don't know if anybody can tell you how to reach a truly inspired moment, because I think a lot of times at that level, there's a lot of unconscious going on, Einstein, I'm sure it's like, how did you get to the theory of relativity? Well, I worked real hard for a while, but then, boom, I don't know, something happened. Roger Federer, how did you reach that? Well, I don't know. I mean, I practiced, but that one. So, maybe Bob Dylan can't tell you how he wrote Blowin' in the Wind. Well, I had 9 rhetorical questions, and then, but I would say for sure he did it by writing a lot of songs and listening to a lot of songs, so that when something hit him, an old folk song like No More Auction Block, which is the tune that's based on, na, 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 na. So the melody's floating around his head somewhere, and when his brain starts firing, it all came together. My point is, you can tone your songwriting muscles. That's what we're talking about, your song muscles. So you can learn to tone them. When you do that, when the God-inspired moments occur, the thunderbolt from above, if you've toned your songwriting muscles, then you'll know what to do with it. And I think also it's more likely that those moments will happen when you've toned the muscles. So you'll know what to do with them, and they're more likely to occur. The more songs you write, the better the odds that when the thunderbolt comes, you'll know what to do with it. The better the odds that the thunderbolts will come. You have to open the portal. It might just be a drip at first, and then at some point it's just, you just can't stop it. Murray mentioned one of the things I got to do is write for a movie called Walk Hard. So another songwriter by the name of Marshall Crenshaw was one of the other guys who was writing for Walk Hard. He wrote one song for Walk Hard, and it was called Walk Hard. It was a good one to do. So he nailed that one. But that's the only one he wrote. I wrote 200 songs for Walk Hard, 200. And I got 9 songs in the movie. You could say, well, Marshall's percentage was 100%, and yours was 4.5%. But the number I'm more concerned was the 9. So, maybe it took 200 to get the 9. I think that's that's a good use of your songwriting time. Okay, so we want to tone our songwriting muscles. So how do we do that? The very first thing, so in any kind of writing, fiction, poems, essays, nonfiction, they're always talking about this thing called the narrative voice, right? You've heard that, the narrative voice. Well, in a story or in a, any kind of book, anything printed on a page, the narrative voice is a metaphor. It's the narrative voice. It's not it's the felt voice, the conveyed voice. But in songs, the narrative voice, it's not a metaphor. It's the real deal. It's your voice. So the more you're going to develop your voice and have confidence in your voice, first of all, lose your inhibitions. That's where kids kind of have an advantage sometimes in terms of songs, because they haven't found their inhibitions yet. We have to lose ours. They haven't even got them yet, So they're singing. They're just singing naturally. They're singing. They're not going to go this melody. They're just doing stuff. But the better you're singing, the more confident you'll be in your voice, and your writing voice will be connected with your voice, and you'll be more confident. We're a singing species. We're not robots. We're more like the birds. We're 97% of the way to singing in our normal speech. And this is something you can warm up and be more conscious of. We don't talk like this. We talk like this. What? Mom? That's how we talk. I can't believe it. You gotta be kidding. Ba 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 ba. That's how we talk. We're singing all the time. So that's just what we want to harness. There's not that much work we have to do. We're singing already. For strength, when we're talking about the vocal stuff, sing those long notes. Time yourself. See how long you can hold one long note. Maybe write a song with a long note in it. Time it, try to beat it. Bring your fans up on stage. See if they can, time them. If they can beat you, they win a whatever, CD, t-shirt. Or maybe they can have your job. At that point, it's like whatever's comfortable for you, but you might, any way you can engage the people, I figure, whether it's with the song itself or something you're doing with it, any way you can engage people is a plus. We're still talking about our songwriting muscles. Good thing to do is to start small, like those ad jingles, the 3-second ones. By Menon. That'd be a great gig to have, wouldn't it? By Menon. All right, now I'll take lunch. Safe flight repair, safe flight replace, those things. Liberty, liberty, liberty. NBC, that's an old classic. Boom, boom, boom. So you can do that. Practice that. Think of your favorite candy bar. Think of your favorite color, preferred candidate or cause. Come up with a jingle. Tape it. Record it. Do another one. Yeah, then you can expand that. Maybe it's a 20-second theme song for a new TV show. We love those. Just sit right back and you hear a tale. Or Green Acres is the place to be. That's those old ones, but they were good ones. One of the coolest things I ever got to do was write a theme song for a kids' cartoon. It was called The Stinky and Dirty Show, and they wanted 20 seconds. And the information I got was it's a stinky and dirty show. Stinky is a garbage truck, and Dirty is a backhoe loader, and they're friends, and that's it. And we want 20 seconds. So I wrote this: stinky and dirty, all I want to be. Stinky and dirty, my best friend and me. One helps out when the other gets stuck. A backhoe loader in a garbage truck. Stinky and dirty, stinky and dirty, stinky and dirty show. And they went for it. So that was the Stinky and Dirty theme song. And because they liked the theme song so much, I got to do one for a song, new song for every episode for 2 years. All because of those 20 seconds. You know, you might want that. Maybe you're doing a podcast. Maybe you're doing a Zoom class, a series of things. You know, use the opportunity to make a little theme song for it. It'll make it memorable for people, and you'll get to work on that. I'm doing these Facebook Live shows. It's called Hunkered in the Bunker. Hunkered in the bunker, playing at the crib, hanging at the crib, playing some songs and tickling some ribs. Don't drive that old clunker, don't get in a flunker. Hunkered in the bunker, hanging at the crib. You know, it's just like short, it's quick, and then you're in the thing, and then people are feeling comfortable, I think, and welcome, and for me, it gives me a chance to go, okay, this is what we're doing. Another good way to learn form, real good way to learn form, is write some parodies. You know, the Weird Al Yankovic trick. You know, really. It does a lot. It teaches you about form. Takes the pressure off of you for form and melody. It takes the pressure off. That's already done. Your job is to really work the syllables and the metrics and the make it all fit and sound smooth. You can make it silly. You can make it serious. It could be about your dog. It could be about the governor. You know, take a song you know well. Take an easy song. Take the Take Me to the Ball Game. About a different sport, you know, that doesn't have a theme. You know, when they talk about peanuts and Cracker Jack, talk about the food you eat for that. Or make up, you know, it could be a made-up sport. This is all fun stuff, really. This is all fun stuff, and it's useful stuff. Here's a good question. Do you need to learn an instrument? Do you need to be able to play an instrument to write songs? The answer, no, but it helps. Just like you need to learn to use your voice as part of your songwriting, playing an instrument, even in the most basic way, and sometimes it's best if you're not a virtuoso on it, you know, because you can get lost in the minutiae. It's like we're building we're building crude tables is what we're learning to do. We're just building tables, you know, and some will go on and be Michelangelo, but we're just learning that, you know, so that you can build a table, so that when you get the divine, a table like that, then you know what to do. You know how to pound the nails. Not all instruments are created equal as far as songwriting goes. The piano, obviously, is a great songwriting instrument. Guitar, obviously, is a great songwriting instrument, more portable than a piano. A ukulele is a good songwriting instrument. Portable, great for kids to start on. Has the advantage of only having 4 strings. It doesn't have the gravitas of a guitar, or the sheer volume of a guitar. I might argue that sticking with the uke might limit how much you're gonna likely develop your voice. Just, you know, it's a small sound. I'm not gonna argue if you want to stick with the uke for life. I'm just a cello or a sax. I mean, those are great instruments and can add greatly to a song, but they aren't great songwriting instruments. Also, in the long run, if you're serious about songwriting, don't rely on someone else to play for you. In the long run, it's hard to find your Sinatra, especially if you're starting out, as far as getting someone to sing your songs for you. Yeah, it's hard to find your Sinatra. So don't rely on someone else to play for you to sing your songs, and don't rely on someone else to sing your songs. You're probably going to need to be the conveyor of your own songs, right? At least for a good while. Let's move on specifically to some kinds of songs. We want to diversify, and we want to tone up our song muscles. So here's a great kind of a song, a list song. Okay, some of the famous list songs are these, you know, I got one piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. When he goes, it's a 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 automobile. It's a 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70 automobile. You know, he's got this long song about stealing a car one piece at a time, and everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, this is a cool song. And then you do that, and it's like, oh yeah, we love this. Another classic list song. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the desert air, man. I've been everywhere. And then he goes, I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Panama, Ottawa, La Paloma, Bangor, Baltimore, Salvador, Amarillo, Tucapilla, Becquerel, Beatty. I'm a killer. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. Why do we remember that song? Not because of the chorus, but because of the lists. Another classic one. This guy, Tom Lehrer. There's a genius songwriter. He was also a math teacher, and I think at some point he was like, come on, Reagan's president. Satire's dead. I'm done. I think he just wanted to go back and teach math. But he had the Elements song. We had all the elements in one song. And he did it to like a Gilbert and Sullivan. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and Mendel, Einsteinium, nobelium, and argon, krypton, neon, radon, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, carbon, and sodium. These are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard. There may be others, but they haven't been discovered. Anyway, he goes through all of them. There's over 100 of them. He just rattles them off. You never forget a song like that. In smaller doses, we all remember that ad. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. It's just the ingredients of a Big Mac. I mean, instead of describing how great Big Mac is, you just go, here it is. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Really is make out a list of things, make out a category. Pets I've had, teachers I've had, dudes I've dumped, whatever it is, and then somehow wangle a song around it, and you get to the list. Also, if you ever want to memorize anything, I wanted to memorize the year-by-year home runs of Barry Bonds. This is a year-by-year home run totals of the great Barry Bonds. This is the year-by-year home run totals of the great Barry Bonds. In 1986, he hit 16 home runs. Then 25, 24, 1933. 25, 34, 46, 37, 33, 42, 40, 37, 34, and 49. 73, 46, 45, 45, 5, 26, 28. I mean, what a great exercise to make anything become music, become a melody. And you'll be able to remember it forever. And it's just an engaging thing. You ever go to those Waffle Houses? On the Waffle House menu, there's all the different kinds of hash browns they do. And every time I went there, I would sit there and I would try to memorize it and I'd have it. And then as soon as I left, saw the next road sign, it'd be gone. So I finally realized I got to put this in a song. So it's red states got the Waffle House, blue states don't. And then the bridge was, what makes a fella favor Nixon over JFK? Might be all of them hash browns, scattered, smothered, covered, chunk, diced, pepper, cap, top, country. Scattered, smothered, covered, chunk, diced, pepper, cap, top, country. So I'm no longer a person who doesn't know those things. Some things are useful to know like that. Often it's comedic, obviously, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes the power can come from just listing something, and it's not just a comedian. Think of John Lennon's song "God." I don't believe in magic. I don't believe in I Ching, and he lists Buddha and Hitler and the Beatles and Zimmerman, and goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this. There's like 20 things. And then he finally goes, I just believe in me, Yoko and me. Just the power of simply listing something like that. That new Dylan song, Murder Most Foul, it's like, 5 hours long. It's like 18 minutes long. I think it's as long as Highlands. Remember that one? That wasn't a list song, but Murder Most Foul, the whole second half of it, he's just listing cool music he likes. That's all he's doing. It's just a long list. If even like Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, that's a list song. I met a black dog. I met another man who's wounded in love. I met another man who's wounded in hatred. It's just who we met. That's not a comic song. I was enraged once when the Senate voted against having background checks on people who wanted to buy machine guns. And what can you say? So I just made a song where I just listed all the senators who voted against background checks, just sang their names. So you can do a lot of things with list songs. Another kind of song is a story song, like a long song. And you might just swap the verse and the chorus back and forth, and they might be the same. If you think of a song like, as I was walking that river highway, I saw me, and in the skyway, right? That's the verse. And then the chorus is, this land is your land, this land is my land. And he just swaps. Or he might do a couple verses, and then it's chorus. And it's the same tune. And you're not going to worry about a bridge. You're not even going to worry about it moving off into a big chorus. You're just singing story. You're just telling the story, and then you go back to the chorus that maybe everybody can sing. Good night, Irene. Da, 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 you have a little verse, you have a little chorus, a little verse, a little chorus. So that's another kind of song you can do. A long story song. Tell a story. Tell a story of the how your house got to be haunted, or your grandma's journey from Ireland to St. Petersburg to Miami. Then, of course, there's your pop song, which typically has verses and choruses and bridges. We're not going to talk a lot about bridges. They can get a little technical. Bridges happen in pop songs. It's where the music changes. The music changes, and usually the lyrical idea shifts. It's almost like an aside or a parenthesis, like, oh, by the way. Like in I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your. That's your chorus. starts right, and then it goes, and when I touch you, I feel happy. Inside, you know, that's a bridge. Things like that. A fun way to practice bridges is write bridges to easy songs that you know that don't really necessarily, well, they don't have a bridge. A happy birthday song. Happy birthday to you. And then write a bridge for it. Some extra part, you know, about going around the sun or something. Let it go around the sun. How old are you now? And then go back to that. You could do that with heck, This Land Is Your Land doesn't have a bridge. Blowing in the Wind doesn't have a bridge. The ABC song doesn't have a bridge. What if it was, you know, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Maybe after P, you sing a little something else. L, M, N, O, P. Da, 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 da. Q, R, S. Just something new. And if you're singing a happy birthday song to somebody and you've got a bridge just about them, that's pretty cool. Here's a cool song form that's a whole lot of fun to mess around with. It has a lot of uses. And that's the talking blues song. Boom, 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 boom. Talking blues are great for topical songs, humorous songs, protest songs. It's 3 chords. If you know about 1-4-5, it's 1-4-5. That just means G, C, D, back to G. Or if you're in C, it's C, F, G, back to C. It's got 4 lines. 2 lines are rhymed, and the next 2, 3 and 4 are rhymed. And then you just hang on that first chord or walk around again, but then you just talk. Here's the classic, The Talking Dust Bowl by Woody. Back in 1927, had a little farm around back in 1927, had a little farm and I called that heaven. So that's your chords, and then you're gonna do it again. You're gonna rhyme the next 2. Prices up and the rain come down, and I hauled my crops all into town. Then he starts talking. I got the money, bought clothes and groceries, fed the kids, raised the family. There's so many of these songs, and they're so fun to write, and they can just breathe a lot of life into a set. Todd Snyder, when he was first coming along, he had the Talkin' Seattle Grunge Rock Blues. And it went, well, I was in this band going nowhere fast. We sent our demos, but everybody passed. So one day we finally took the plunge, moved out to Seattle to play some grunge. Okay, that's his 4 lines. Now he's just gonna talk. Washington State, that is. Space Needle, Eddie Vedder, Mud Honey. So that's a verse. When I was first coming along, I was thinking about when Bob Dylan was first coming along and he visited Woody Guthrie in the hospital. So I thought, well, it'd be nice if I could say, for example, visit Bruce Springsteen in the hospital. The problem was he was fine. He wasn't in any hospital. But in the Talkin' Woody, Bob, Bruce, and Dan blues, I break into his house and try to convince him that he's in the hospital. I found the boss asleep in bed, pillows piled up round my head. I turned on the light, took off my coat, stuck a thermometer down his throat, said, don't talk. Now I just start talking. You look pale, boss. Not at all well. He said, what the hell are you talking about? I ain't sick. This ain't a hospital. And I have to get past the security gate. So, that's the form. One Sunday afternoon, I played the fool, talked to the Toronto Songwriting School, talked a while about writing songs. I hope I didn't talk too long, had to leave time for Q&A. with Murray. Don't worry, we'll get there. Here's another thing you probably need in your set. A country waltz in 3. So we've been boom, 2, boom, 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 boom. But it's nice to have something in 3. Boom, 2, 3, boom. It just moves different. Appreciate. Maybe they'll start. And you'll find that you'll do things with your voice that you might not have done before if you're just playing like this. It's a lilt. At that point, you want your violin player friend to come and play something. Let's talk about kids' songs for a minute. Kids' songs are fun, and everybody likes that, and everybody likes kids, and kids like to be entertained like anybody. Here's something you can use in your kids' songs: animal characters. They like animal characters. You can't go wrong with that. If you have any funny sounds in your kids' songs, that'll work well. Give them a part. Give them something to do. Then you can't go wrong. I saw a cow, and then they go, moo. I saw a horse, hey. I saw a pig, I saw a dog, woo, woo. Just the simplest thing. If you give them something to do and a little creativity and a little room, or if there's colors in the song, stop and let them say the color, just that kind of thing. Engage them on those simple levels. Call and response. You do something, they do something. They do something, you do something. Well, a lot of times today, we're wondering, well, what the heck can we do? What can I do? I mean, it might sound trite, but write a protest song. Write a protest song. We already talked about talking blues. That's a good protest song form. There's you can, for models, Springsteen's got 41 shots when that guy got killed by the, they don't take that 41 shots. Just says the number of times the guy got shot. Dylan had that classic, here's the story of a hurricane. The man the authority came to blame. Well, so he ought to be let out of jail. So he's actually trying to get something accomplished with this song. He's trying to get this guy out of jail, and he's telling the story of what happened and why it was an injustice. That's a noble thing to do. KRS-One has that song. Whoop, whoop, it's the sound of the police. Sound of the police. I mean, that's really strong with that, just that imitation of the sound of the police, and we all know that sound, and nobody likes that sound. And see the flashing blue in your rear view. Classics. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds like a whisper. All that a good, successful protest song needs is for you to feel personally about what you're singing about. That it's not an abstraction, that it actually affects you personally, whether it's just emotionally or actually, in some physical sense. I think that's what is behind a good protest song. If the personal and the political are entwined, and you can't pull them apart. We probably need a love song. Maybe we'll up the stakes a little bit. This is a song to not just I love blah, 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 but this one's got to win back the lover or a friend. Win somebody or something back. We're going to want a campfire song. Wouldn't it be nice to write a classic campfire song that they sing, 50 years from now, even when you're not around? Here again, like with the kids song, I think building a call and response can be a useful thing to do. It'll engage the audience, the people around, make them part of it, and it'll make certain that it's singable. If you build it so that you're not the only one that's going to be singing it, that whoever is there is involved. Maybe it's hand claps. Maybe it's, I don't know, humming. Tracy Chapman did she had everybody whispering. But you're with all these things, you're building the craft. You're building your ability to respond to whatever hits you over the head in song. When Miro, the painter, he learned all these different forms. He didn't just paint. He was also did a lot with ceramics. And when he was learning ceramics teacher, you don't have to be Miro. I have to become a ceramicist. He wasn't looking to create some incredible artistic achievement, especially not at the beginning. He's trying to learn how to make a bowl. Exercise and tone your songwriting muscles. Use local events as opportunities to write new songs. Maybe a new store opens. Maybe a new radio station opens. Maybe they get a new transmitter. Maybe one of their longtime DJs is retiring. Or maybe they're bringing somebody new on. Hey, if you write a song about anything at the radio station, they're going to play it. They're going to play it on the radio. Maybe there's a new fire station. Write for occasions, holidays maybe that don't have songs. Is there an Arbor Day song? I don't know that there's an Easter song. Or write for holidays that don't exist, that should exist. Write that holiday song. Birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, graduations, divorces. Write songs for people. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's the best gift anybody's gonna ever get. Just record it on your phone. If you're gonna play an open mic, have a new song ready. How about that? You're gonna play the open mic, bring in a new song. Maybe you'll sing 2 songs. So you'll play an old one, and then you'll play your new song. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, if you say, hey, this is brand new, it's the first time I'm going to play it, nobody's going to expect that it's perfection, and they're going to lean forward and they're going to go, wow, this is the first time. Wow. So take those chances and use those opportunities. Write in pairs, write in groups, write alone. We're going to talk about one more kind of song right now, and that's what I call the tour de force song. You're going to find your own personal tour de force. In an acting class, they'll tell you, use yourself. Use yourself. We're going to do the same thing. Your personal tour de force song might not be the best, most emotional, deepest song you'll ever write. It might be. But, hey, if you're one of 50 songwriters on an open mic night, your tour de force song, it might be the one people remember. So begin by, you're going to identify something that's specific to you. Could be, a foreign language. You can do accent, imitate some well-known musician or actor, singer, or cartoon character. Maybe you can make animal sounds. Maybe you can do something with your face. Maybe you can wiggle your ear, or do something with your nose, or your lips, or your eyes can do something. Could be something with your body. It could be double jointed. It could be a sound you make. It could be a skill you have, some little thing, juggling, flicking peanuts. I have this peanut flicking thing that I do, and I finally got it into a song. Here, I do this thing. Let's see. So I put a, oh yeah, see, I put a peanut right there. And I flick it in my mouth, except that one missed, but if I concentrate, I get it in my mouth. So that finally got into a song. You know, you could be good at snapping fingers. You could be tap dancer. You might do, you know, bird calls. Maybe you can speak gibberish. Maybe you can sing really low. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you can sing super high. Maybe you can shatter glass. Maybe you can sing the long note. I got that long note into one of my own songs. I had this song called Long Lifeline. Sometimes you got a joke, and sometimes you'll tell a joke, and then sometimes you'll have the joke. And when it comes up in conversation, then you smoothly that's probably more classy, but either way is fine. If you have a joke and you just tell a joke, that's fine too. Same thing. Sometimes you might want to go, well, I got this long note holding ability. So I'm going to write a song that emphasizes that. That's the kind of thing we're talking about right now. Or it could just come up. I wrote a song called Long Lifeline. I got a long lifeline. And then at some point I just started singing long as I could. Just like in the Freight Train Blues thing. I got a long, it just goes on. It's like 40 seconds. Sometimes you get lucky, but we're actively working our songwriting muscles. We're not just waiting for the moment to come along. So we're identifying these things, and we're going to write into these, all these things we've been talking about. Maybe you know a lot about a given subject. Maybe biology is your thing, or stamp collecting. Maybe you know more about stamp collecting than almost anybody. Maybe you know chess notation. Maybe you know more about Argyle socks and the varieties of Argyle socks. Example, some new math, a math problem. Those are classic examples of somebody writing into their own wheelhouse. Writing into your own wheelhouse. Identify what you can do that's particular. It might just be that weird thing you do. Identify it, use it, feature it, write a vehicle for you to do that thing. Yeah, and then just you got to somehow mold the narrative around that thing, and then you actually do that thing. First, you're talking about the thing, or you're coming in obliquely. You can come in like on the nose and describe the thing and say, this is what I'm going to do. Or it could just be a glancing blow. It could be mentioned and then the thing happens. There's a million ways to do all of this stuff. There's a million ways in. Hopefully some of this is helpful or useful. No one should ever feel like songwriting is something other people do, or that you need some special talent, or you're too old to start, or anything. And there's no rules that can't be broken. Writing songs is a natural human thing. I wish you all a lot of success. And hey, this is a pretty good set. You got your list song. You got your long story song with alternating verses and chorus. You got your pop song with a bridge. You got a talking blues song. You got the country waltz in 3. Do, 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 do. You got a kid song. You got a song to win back that lover or friend. You got a protest song, campfire classic, and you got your tour de force. And maybe we'll kick it over to Murray. Thank you.
You've earned that sip of water, my friend. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
This applause is from everyone who's just on the chat. That was amazing, and I was laughing and learning and actually stealing notes from you.
Good.
I hope that's
I was
cool.
stealing notes from you when we were talking before, so that's
so we're even.
We're square.
So, as you and I know, in the world of pop music, by which I mean the stuff that's on the radio, you know, stuff the kids are listening to, the variety of topics that it, like lyrically, that is sort of allowed in that space, as you and I know, is getting kind of smaller and smaller, right? And all the songs that you reference in terms of, you know, inspiration, they're older songs. They're 50-year-old songs, 40-year-old songs, 60-year-old songs. And one of the big takeaways, I think, from what just happened over the last hour is what you're saying is giving people permission to write about different topics, you know?
Exactly. That's what I feel like the great masters of the form taught me and gave me permission to do. You know, when you listen to, you know, when you're like 15 years old and you're listening to the Walrus, or you're listening to, you know, Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands or something, you just realize, well, this is a really big playing field. This is a really big playing field. And I mean, I think somebody like Billie Eilish, I mean, she's as creative and expansive as you can get. But the thing is, yeah, maybe on the pop radio, the
Parameters.
The parameters of what they're singing about might be smaller, but for 99.9% of the people who are going to be writing and singing songs, that's not their arena. And there's plenty of people who can tell you how to write for that arena and exist in that arena, but you know, I think to me, it's more useful to imagine that, you know, because most people, you know, if they write a song and pick up a guitar and go down and play the open mic, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you, I mean, I think there are a lot of people out there who write songs and they think about writing songs and they think of a topic for a song. And then they say to themselves, that's ridiculous, that can't be a song. But I think one of your great strengths is that you say that can be a song. And the last hour, I think has been that. So my question sort of is, have you ever come across a topic where you say that can't be a song? Like, have you ever stopped yourself from that? Or what would be your parameters?
The only time I would stop myself is if I feel like I've written this song before, you know. I think when you write for, you know, the movies I've gotten to write for, where I'm writing characters' songs, I'm not just writing character songs. Or when, you know, you're writing for the stage and for characters, that really can refresh everything, because you're no longer ever going to pass on, well, I've written that song before. I've written the song of when I go down to the 7-Eleven, fall in love, and come home. I've written that song before. But if you're now writing for a character, they haven't written that song before. So that's brand new. I think that's where I would stop myself. But I don't think I would ever say you can't touch that. It's just how you treat it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How old were you when you wrote your first song?
Well, I was see, I said, even the words writing a song to me is almost highfalutin. You know, when we go back that far, it's like Woody Guthrie. He didn't say I wrote that song. He said I made it up. Mm-hmm. And so I was making up songs like everybody does when they're little kids. and I just didn't stop. So when I was 9, I was still making up songs. When I was 11, I was making up songs. Me and my friend Steve Sargent had like a repertoire of 15 songs that we would sing on the way to school and back. Some of them were as short as Dium, Dium. And then we would sing it in the back of the class, and the teacher wouldn't know where it was coming from. It was like the subversive thing. But then, that I don't know if that would have even continued, or if that might have died out. If then at some point when I was 14 or 15, then I heard those solo guitar guys, and then I was like, oh, I need one of those things.
Yeah.
And and that's when it became, I guess you could say, serious or codified in some way. That's when it found its place, its home to exist.
Did you, I think I know the answer to this question, but did you ever go through a phase where you grew your hair and like had highlights and wrote like new wave for 6 months?
I wrote everything.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, I had a lot of hair, so that was nice. No, I wrote everything. I wrote my weird, quirky songs, but I mean,
were you ever in a new wave band?
No, just because I wasn't in bands at that point. I didn't start having the luxury of having like even it's like a side player on touring, and so then it was like learning how to do. But at that point, I kind of had my songs, and so they were gonna play those songs with me.
Mm-hmm. So I want you to trace your evolution as a songwriter from the perspective of a guy who sits down with a cup of coffee and a guitar and a blank piece of paper. That moment, how has that moment changed for you from grade 4 till 10 minutes ago? That's a big question.
Well, I think I just was fortunate to be able to continue to respond to different opportunities and challenges. When I was doing Walk Hard, I was suddenly co-writing with Mike Viola, in a very, it was like a bubble before it was our own little Brill building every day. And we were writing to script. We weren't just writing what the heck we were thinking about. We were filtering everything that we knew through the personage of Dewey Cox. And then when I got to do the cartoon show, I was having to respond to 6 or 7 people for every song, different departments,
Mm-hmm.
the child psychologist, the this, the that, and both of those things just really, you lose so much ego in such a great way.
Mm-hmm.
Doing songwriting workshops, that's given me a much bigger perspective on the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I was suddenly on the road, getting press, doing interviews, getting some attention, and what that does to you as a writer, and the challenges and joys of that. And right now, I'm doing these Hunkered in a Bunker shows. I do a couple a week, about 3 hours each. People are requesting songs while you're singing this one. Normally they're sitting in an audience, they're thinking that stuff, and they tell you later, hey, it would be nice if you had played blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, I'll play tomorrow, but I'm going to be in Cincinnati. If you want to drop now,
Yeah.
with this, so that it's it's a challenge, but it's something great about that.
So,
Uh,
so I'm trying to get at something here. And then maybe this is the question I ask, I'm not sure, but when was the period in your life that you struggled most as a songwriter? Like in that moment of pen, paper, guitar, and why and what got you out of it? Or maybe, like, I feel like you're a guy who's just, the muse has just come through you quite a bit.
Honestly, I never struggled with that part of it. I've struggled with every other part of it, I've struggled with trying to get anyone to take an interest in it. I've struggled with, getting along with people. A lot of different things, but I think I've written so much that if I have to sit there and focus on something, like somebody's asking for something to fit to something else, I can do that. I can sit down and write 10 songs in a night for a script.
Mm-hmm.
And if something at this point, I'm just not, and I don't think I ever really demanded a certain output. I noticed my output. I noticed what my, yearly percentage seemed to be, and that seemed to be pretty steady over a long period of time. So I didn't really worry about it. A lot of times I thought I'll never write another song again. A lot of times. So maybe I'm just forgetting that.
Why was that? For personal reasons, for like inspiration reasons?
I think see, now I have the memory of going through 10 days without writing a song, and I know that I'll do it again. But at some point, I don't think I knew that. And a week and a half or 2 weeks might go by and I haven't written a song, and I might just go, well, that might be it. That might be it. There's a lot of times I might decide I'm never going to write a song again out of anger, something like that. But mostly I mean, if I required 2 songs a week of myself, then I might get frustrated. If I've been in, sometimes, I've been in scenes where you want a song every week. Maybe it's an open mic and everybody comes in with a new song. Maybe it's a songwriting group that meets once a week and you've got to bring in a new song. I guess that just feels like good incentive.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think for most people watching this, like 1 song a week is wildly ambitious for them, And so I think you're
not, though. I mean, I can understand that it might be, but if you go to a yoga class, you're gonna bend around. You're gonna do some stuff. On your own, you might not think to, but it's not wildly.
It's 3 hours.
If you look into the Toronto Songwriting School once in a while, you're not gonna have trouble writing songs.
Thank you for that. That wasn't even paid. What just happened there? That's awesome. And I think actually, like, to loop back around, I think I'm just piecing this together, but part of the reason that you've never had that dry period is because of the permission that you give yourself, right? Whereas a lot of people, I would say, during that one day of the week where they're going to write a song, they probably have 7 ideas that they discard.
Yeah.
And they say, I just don't have it today.
I think that's right. But again, I go back to the table. It's like if the only table you're willing to build is like this Elizabethan Rococo job with velvet drawers, you're not probably going to build that or any other table. And if you're just like, well, I just want something I can throw a notebook on, type a letter on, read a book at, if your expectations aren't so extreme, I think it just frees you up. It's like the little kid. It's like if you broke it down, or if you tell a person how to walk, well, you put your foot here, and then you have to put your heel, and then you have to roll at about a 45 degree of pronation. It's like, whoa, person never walks. It's just like, well, just walk. It's I think it's so basic to humans.
Mm-hmm. It's also, I mean, I think what paralyzes people is the thought is not that moment, that sort of childlike moment of creation. It's the idea of who's going to hear it and how they're going to be judged for it. And once that other voice enters the brain, then that's when the creation is paralyzed a little bit, So it's managing that as well.
That's people meet in a group. If you're lucky enough to have a little group of 7, or 11 that you don't have the inhibitions with, because you've all heard each other sing and you've all sung together, and you're starting real basic. And even if Neil Young comes in, he's going to sing a 4-second jingle about almond joy, just bring it all down to here. Then
lower the stakes.
Yeah.
So here's another big question for you, and I'm giving you big questions, and I apologize for that. But how do you tell a story in a song? And what I mean by that is when you have so many story songs, and maybe you're not conscious of how you tell a story, but as a songwriting craftsperson, what is consciously going through your mind in terms of when you're working on a song, what you need to include?
Move it along. Along. Leave the details for later, or don't even worry about it, Move it along, bare bones.
Give me an example. Like, what does that mean? Like, what's one of your songs? Just recite one of your songs where you do that. Or sing it.
Here's a song. I don't know if this won't answer your question, but a friend of mine in Atlanta, she said, hey, she just said this great line. And she says, a journey of 1,000 hangovers starts with a single sip. And I said, wow, that's a great line. Write that song. And she's like, oh, I don't know. How do I do that? So I thought, well, okay, I'll start you off. So, a smile, a glance, a pat on the back, some honey on a piece of toast. Oh, wait, that was the second line. Here we go. They say that it's the small things that end up meaning the most. A smile, a glance, a pat on the back, some honey on a piece of toast. The deepest, widest ocean starts with a single drip, and a journey of 1,000 hangovers starts with a single sip. Grandma, stay away from the bar. You've done so far. Can't swim, tired eating one little chip, and a journey of 1,000 hangovers starts with a single sip. So I didn't know that Grandma was going to be the one that you're saying this to. I didn't know until I just set the thing up. Mm-hmm. And then Grandma appeared. So then she's in. And she becomes the focus. I think the best stories, whether they be in song or in fiction, I mean, yeah, you might know the whole story and then you just lay it out. But I think the best ones at least leave some room for you, the writer, to be as surprised and delighted and interested in the thing as the listener. I think if it's cut and dried, then you might get bogged down in the details. There's that expression, the devil's in the details. So you don't need the details.
Move it along. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you say that, but I mean, you part of the strength I think of your songwriting is the details. Like even when you're talking about the table with the velvet drawers, I think you've got the kind of a mind that like whenever you have an idea, all the details are there. And
Okay, so there's you gotta. I mean, yeah, you want to have strong images, and a strong image is it creates a picture in your mind. But you know, the picture in your mind, that's like a planet, right? Then you got to get to the next planet. So get to the next planet. You don't need you don't need to describe every mile along the way.
right.
Next scene. It's like uh, it's the way
Jump
our minds.
cuts, jump
Boom,
cuts. Yeah, yeah,
jump
yeah, yeah,
cuts. Yeah,
yeah.
boom.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the part of the magic of song and of art really is that people fill in the gaps, right? If you give them the signposts, they will be like, "Oh, I get it. I'll add the connective tissue," right? And that's the poetry that is sort of inherent in songs, which is that you're going to offload, you're going to outsource a bunch of that work of meaning and story creation to people, but you have to provide them with the skeleton.
Yeah, and the other, and maybe this is the converse, and maybe it's a contradiction, but the other thing is nothing really has to happen.
Meaning what?
Meaning the song, it doesn't have to cover so much ground.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it can. That's a certain kind of song, but it can also just
Yeah.
be right here now in the room, and nothing's really going on.
Yeah, and there are also a bunch of songwriters. I'm thinking of sort of Townes Van Zandt, I guess, where he's telling a story, but then the story kind of it's almost like the car that he's driving pulls over into the side of the road, and that's the end of the song. Like it's not. There's no big ending. The song just kind of ends, and that's okay. You just had this snippet of story that just tells us a chunk of this person's life without a big entry and without a big ending.
Yeah, like those Frank O'Hara stories, or or Jarmusch. Those Jarmusch films. Sometimes there'll be a scene and somebody will stop talking, and then I'll just stay there for a minute. It'll be off.
And that's okay.
But there's just no rule that can't be broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. But move it along is a great bit of advice for sure for stories. How are you? And this is I feel like another loaded question a little bit, but how are you? How are you as a songwriter? How are you managing the current political moment in the States? Because you've been writing about politics forever, and suddenly you find yourself in probably the most intense political moment of your lifetime. So are you, I mean, does a political song idea come to you every day and you say no to it, or do you say yes to it, or how do you manage that as a songwriter? Because I'm sure you could write one a day about the political situation.
Yeah, I suppose you could. I mean, if I was doing a show every day, and then I would write a song every day. I was for a while. When the quarantine started, I was writing a song every day. I had a quarantine album in 2 weeks, and then all the other stuff started up, and I was writing songs about that. With none of that, did I feel any particular pressure or need or obligation to. They were just bubbling up, When the pressure gets too much and it's bubbling up, then you got to let it out. I go back and forth between thinking it's extremely important to write songs like that, and to thinking it's ridiculous, And
Why ridiculous? Like irrelevant, or
yeah, just that whole, it's like, you know, march somewhere with a machine gun instead, you know. And there's a guy, Eric Ward, who runs the Western States. Just a they're kind of like the ACLU, that kind of a. And his big thing was, among other things, you know, artists, do your art. Just do your thing. It's the most important thing you can do. And so that's I take a lot from that. You know, when I'm like, well, I don't know, because this thing is it's really big, and it can feel daunting, and it's easy to feel defeated. I think only through shared stuff and the continued workings of our own expression can we sort of keep on.
Make it through. Yeah. So what's next for you? What's on the docket for you?
I'm going to open up a song store, which I've it's probably related to Toronto Song School. Maybe we could do some exchange work.
Some cross marketing.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna do some classes. Gonna do some customized, you know, offer customized songs for all occasions. You know, maybe you'll just need a bridge. Come in, drop off your song, do a bridge, come back in an hour, that kind of thing. So that's one of the things.
Mm-hmm.
I always imagined it as like a brick and mortar store someplace, but I might start that way.
Mm-hmm. How much were you touring when it all ended?
More than I had. I put out that record Regent Street last year, so I toured a lot for that. I messed up my finger, so I stopped touring for a while because of that, because I couldn't really even play. Well, I couldn't play for a while. So I wasn't touring then, and then Regent Street I was touring more when I could play again, and then I was in Europe, and I was in Canada, and I was gonna do May and last spring, and I was gonna do something this fall. So yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was doing quite.
And how have you been riding out, like personally riding out the lockdown, the new lifestyle?
Yeah, it's like a hustle a week. You know?
Yeah.
1 week this, put out this record, put out that record, start podcasts, paint this, put out t-shirts, you know, just sort of keeping the lights on, and kind of figuring out ways to do things in the long run.
Yeah. I think you're a restless spirit, I guess. You know, I mean, it strikes me that you know, there's some people that would take to the lockdown well, and I feel like you were bursting to do a million things, perhaps. You know?
I learned how to make cartoons. That was pretty cool.
That's an excellent pandemic goal, for sure.
Oh my goodness! I mean, to be able to write a new song, record it, animate it within a few hours, compared to what it would have taken to do any of those things 15, 20 years ago, and the different people you'd have to involve.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. I know the sun's going down in Northern California now, so it's time for you to get on your horse and I guess ride across the lonely steppes, you know, behind your house. I don't know. I'm imagining your lifestyle.
That's right.
It's all accurate. Any one last burst of songwriting, something for the good people?
Yeah, there's 5 keys that you need. Pick a key and learn the 2 other chords with it. It's 1 4 5 1. If it's C, then you go C 2 3 C D F C D E F. So you got C F and then 5. The next one is G. C F G. That's all you need. C F G. If it's G G A B C and then D. G C D. I mean, that's a good start.
That's great. And I think that's the perfect end. That's perfect beginning and perfect end. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much. It's been a thrill.
For me too. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon. Take
All
care.
right.